Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. This is the Sarasota Technology User Group, Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. Getting hard to get used to saying that. A little bit later on, Bill Crowe will be doing the presentation. I'm Huey Poplock, and just a little bit of an introduction of what STUG is that we do each meeting. However, we also at each meeting, we draw one winner to a STUG of 1 year membership renewal. So obviously you have to be a member to get to win the prize because it's a renewal, not just a membership. And I didn't change the date on that. Sorry about that, but it is January 5th, 2022. Okay, classes and forums are limited to current STUG members only unless otherwise noted. This month, we've got Google Forms hosted by Marcia Berkey on the 11th from 10:30 to noon, and it'll focus on Google Forms. If you've not used Forms from Google, they are ideal for replies and for surveys and all kinds of forms. And this is a good place to learn about them. It's easy and it's free. Also, for potential presenters and Google Slides or PowerPoint, Marcia the same day at 1 o'clock to 2:30 will be presenting for all levels of experience are welcome. Whether you want to write your memoirs, share a presentation with your family or friends, or have a future STUG or other group presentation, this class is for you. First hour will be instruction on both PowerPoint and Google Slides. And the last half hour or more, if needed, is to share parts of your presentation for accolades or suggestions if desired. The last meeting, I had a question that I've been trying to get answered for a year, and we were able to solve the problem at this meeting. So Marcia's been doing it. Yes.
You're not sharing your screen.
I am sharing my screen. Can anyone else?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay, for whatever reason, I'm not sure why you're not seeing it.
Okay, sorry.
Also on Thursday, the January 13th, Jim Cerny, I'm sorry, will be doing Google Apps, an overview of them. Remember I mentioned Forms, but Google has a whole bunch of different apps that are free with your Google account, and he's going to be talking about several of them. The STUG Help Desk, we changed the time last month, and just as a reminder, I left that change up there, but it'll be Wednesday, January 19th, and it'll be from 4 to 5:15. You can sign up for a reminder at the website, and that you'll then get a link to the meeting. To register for these STUG workshops, there are two methods depending upon the teacher. You either send an email to the instructor or there may be a link online. The way to get in touch with the instructors, as a member, you will receive the weekly notifications on Friday, and in those are instructions on how to register. Outside of the STUG meetings, the Tech for Seniors, hosted by me and Ron Brown and I, every Monday from 11:30 to 1:15 Eastern time. And so it's on Zoom, and then we stream also on YouTube. We have resident experts. Bob G's online with us tonight, and Bill James is here as well. And STUG members are invited to attend this action-packed hour. This next week will be, I believe, our 94th week in a row that we've done that. Tech for Seniors Live is on Thursdays, starting at about 10 till noon Eastern time. We actually start at noon, and there's usually 3, 4, or 5 of us, and we just talk about technology and what's new this past week. And you can view it either on YouTube or on Facebook. It is not a Zoom meeting. And then every second Sunday of the month, I have the Windows SIG for the Central Florida Computer Society. All STUG members are invited. It starts at 1:30 Eastern time. You can log in starting at 1. Just go to huey.net and you can sign up for the newsletter, which will be going out either tomorrow or Friday. And it'll have the link for the meeting. If you've already registered and gone to one of the meetings, you do not have to re-register, and you'll be getting a reminder probably Saturday. Don't forget the STUG website at thestug.org. Don't forget our newsletter. If you're a member, you get the most recent edition. Online, you can view 3 months and earlier. Don't forget the YouTube channel, where this meeting will also be recorded and placed online on the YouTube channel in the next day or so. Don't forget, we also have a Facebook page and a blog and a group where you can ask questions, leave your questions, and people answer them. Here's your STUG Board of Directors for 2022. And we welcome you to the meeting. And I'm going to turn it over to Ann now. I'll stop my share. And Ann, you can introduce our speaker. You're muted, or I don't know where the mic is, so, but we're not hearing anything. Well, the mic was working earlier, Bill. Something's muted, I think.
How does this work?
Now it's working.
Now it's working. Wonderful. Well, it is so great to see all of you here tonight. And I have to say, we have 16 great people in this beautiful downtown Denny's waiting to hear what Bill Crowe has to say tonight. So let me introduce Bill right away. Bill has a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics education from the University of California, Pennsylvania. Doesn't sound right, does it? But he tells me there's a California in Pennsylvania. He worked for IBM for 34 years as a programmer, systems analysis, and manager. He also has done IBM certified coursework from Washington University, Dartmouth University, Dale Carnegie, and WIN Institute, to name a few. He has taught computer-related classes at New Horizons Community College in Vermont and St. Michael's College in Vermont. Bill teaches courses such as Intro to Computers, Windows, Excel, Word, and various iPhone and iPad courses for Sarasota Adult Community Enrichment, which we call ACE. He also teaches many courses and is on the board of the Sarasota Technology Users Group, which we call STUG. Bill's passion for teaching becomes oblivious when you see him in the classroom. Bill wrote this. Bill wrote this. Obvious when you see him in the classroom. He is excited about helping others learn, and that excitement is caught by the students. His favorite expression is, "No learning takes place unless there is a transfer of knowledge." From what his students say, there is a lot of learning that occurs in his classes. Tonight, Bill will present part 2 of identity theft. In today's technology-driven world, it seems as though everyone wants to steal your identity and then steal everything else you own. From phone scams to computer viruses and scams, the bad guys are finding more and more creative ways to trick you into giving them the information they need to steal your home, your money, and even your medical care. Once it happens, it can be difficult to recover what you have lost. Tonight, Bill will focus computer and the best practices to follow while using your computer to prevent loss of data of your identity. So let's give a big STUG welcome to Bill Crowe. Bill.
was asked what.
Can you hear me, everybody?
Yes.
Yui?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good. Let me skip a couple slides here.
You haven't shared your screen yet.
Yeah, you do, but they don't. And how am I going to do this? Hold on.
There you go.
We good?
We're now seeing what can you do if you've become a victim of identity theft
Yep.
and robocalls.
That was last slide 62. So I want to. You get that, everybody? You get. And that's the presentation for tonight, everybody. Okay. What to do if you get scammed on the phone, for example, or your information gets taken and what's happening. And just to review that a little bit, right? You should, and this is the big five, to try not to get scammed or your identity taken. Check your credit card statements frequently. Check the 3 credit card bureaus frequently. Equifax, Equus, something else, and TransUnion. Thank you. Never give info over the phone to people you didn't call. That's a really good rule. If you get a call and they're trying to tell you something, and pretty soon they're going to be asking for a credit card or names or stuff. You called me, right? Hang up or just tell them, put me on your do not call list. Okay. Got one today. Mortgage, right? I want to talk to you about mortgages. I said, are you trying to sell something? No, we're not trying to sell something. Well, why are you calling me then? Well, we want to let you know how bad your mortgage is. So we can give your phone number out to 7 other mortgage places so they can call you. No, I don't want to. Hang up on anyone who says they're giving you money. If it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. We are far too gullible, most of us. We're too kind. And we have to learn to say either hang up or say goodbye or get lost or get a real job to the person on the other end of the line. And you have to be rude because they won't stop. I mean, I said, hello, is this Crowe? Yes. I tried Joe's Bar and Grill. I think I mentioned that last time, right? I tried to say Joe's Bar and Grill, and the little whippersnapper on the other end said, really? What's the address of your bar and grill? I said, why do you care? He said, well, if you have a bar and grill, you want me to know where to come. Okay, so hang up, right? Do not click on attachments on your computer, and we'll talk a lot more about that today. Okay. If you see a problem, contact the banks and cancel the cards, right? Lock accounts. Okay. File report with the FTC, Federal Trade Commission. Wait a minute. File report with the local police. Okay. All right. So that's what you should do. And that's a summary of part 1. Okay. Part 2, we're going to focus on computers, protect my data in my computer. we're going to talk about things like firewalls and try to define that, because sometimes people have a tough time saying, well, what's a firewall, right? We'll talk about virus protection, update applications and operating systems, have strong passwords, 1234, 1111, 9999. Got a story. I have an old iPad and my grandson was visiting and I wanted to let him use the old iPad. And Apple has a wonderful thing for it's manage your time, and it's a parental control thing. You can say, how long can you stay on the thing when you log in? What websites you can visit or none? What applications they can use? So you can control everything they want to do with that iPad. And they give you a password for that, and you set it up. So I changed the login password on that computer to 1111. So he could get in and not, right? And then there was a way you could go change the parental controls, and that required a password. Well, I didn't give that to my grandson. But when he left, I went in to try to reset it. And guess what I had done? I forgot the password for the parental control. And there was a way to get around it. I had to go in and log into my Apple account, put in the Apple account password, so keep strong passwords. And the corollary to keep strong passwords is write them down, right? So you don't forget them, right? Watch what you click on when you're on your computer, right? Attachments are not your friends. When somebody sends you an email with an attachment, do you really need to see this joke coming to you from Sally Jones or Mark Wurtzniger, right? Do you really need to see that? Because it may lead you to some bad stuff happening on your computer. And I'll say this a couple of times during the presentation, but one is if you're using your iPhone or iPad, it's much safer to click an attachment because they're not vulnerable to viruses, okay? So if you're getting that weird attachment, do it on your phone, iPhone, right? And it will block it if there's a problem. Beware of computer scams, right? What info are you putting out there? Oh, this is a good one. I bet you don't realize how much information the world knows about you. I have a Ring doorbell that just got installed in my home, and we set it up. My son set it up for me. Right? And about 2 days later, I got on it, and Ring came back and says, you want me to continue collecting where you've been? And I looked on there, and it had a map of every place I had been in the last 4 days with my phone. So I immediately turned off that feature. But little things like that are just out there. Now, Ring does notify me if somebody approaches my front door, and it actually shows up on my watch and I can see it. But the opposite, I don't want Ring. Okay, and back up your information, right? So we're going to talk about those things in a little more depth. All right. First of all, let's talk about something called a firewall, and it's not this one. Okay. Okay. What is a firewall? It's a piece of it's a software program or hardware that blocks hackers from getting into your computer and from hackers sending out information from your computer. Okay. So if this picture, let me move my mouse over there. If this picture represents your computer, right? And this is your router modem, here's the firewall. And there is one on your actual router modem that requires a password to get through. When your daughter-in-law, grandson come to your house, what's the second thing out of their mouth after hello? What's your Wi-Fi password, right? And so you have to have that Wi-Fi password to get through that particular firewall. Okay. When it gets onto your computer, there's certain things in your computer that says, hey, this program's trying to make a change to your computer. Do you want to allow it? Okay. And if you're trying to download an application, you sure do. If you're not downloading an application, you say, wherever I'm trying to click on, just tried to put stuff on my computer I don't want. Hardware modem with password, right? It does an incoming check. Looks like that. One of those things, right? I think we all have one of those. Software, Windows Firewall, Windows Defender for Windows 10, for example, is a firewall. Okay. There's a general category of things on your computer called, and we get these confused. Malware is the big picture. It can maul your computer is the way to think about it. And by mauling your computer, we mean it's some kind of virus and it's a bunch of other things. So I'm going to just talk briefly about some of the different things the bad guys have come up with and that the good guys have named, right? The term malware is a contraction of malicious software. But simply, malware is one piece of software that was written with the intent of damaging devices, stealing data, or generally causing a mess. Some of them are called viruses, trojans, spyware, ransomware are among the different types of malware. Okay, adware. I'm not going to cover, is the type of malware that automatically delivers advertisements. That one's not too bad, right? Ransomware, bad one. It's onto your computer, encrypts all of your data, so you need a passcode to get into it, and they'll sell you the passcode. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. That's the big one we've heard about with government or colleges, universities, city governments getting, or hospitals getting their databases encrypted and having to pay a ransomware to get unencrypted. Okay. We're going to skip a bunch of these. Trojan horse, that makes sense, right? You're getting a virus on your computer. It's hidden in something else that you loaded on your computer, right? A virus is a form of malware, is capable of copying itself and spreading to other computers. So you get a virus on your computer, and it is designed so that if you send an email, for example, from your computer to someone else with an attachment, it's buried in the attachment and it goes to another person and it spreads. Okay. There's computer worms, and you know, we wouldn't remember all these. Spyware is a type of software that gets on your computer and watches what you do, and then at a particular time sends it back to the mothership. When they say what you do, what your keystrokes are, for example. So if you're entering your social security number, it remembers that. It sends it back to the mothership. All right, symptoms. Now, many of us have some of these symptoms and we don't have viruses or malware on our computers, right? Increased CPU usage. If you do Control-Alt-Delete on a PC, Control-Alt-Delete, and you click on Task Manager, you can see how the computer is using the various resources like the CPU or the memory or the disk. And if your CPU usage is way up and you're not doing anything, something else is going on. And you need to check that. Okay. Slow computer or web browsers. I get a lot of calls of people saying, oh my goodness, my computer's running so slow. And usually they're talking about accessing the internet and going to a particular site and getting information. And it's going so slowly. Well, it's not really going slowly. Your computer may not be the problem. There are three different sources of problems. One is your internet service provider, Comcast or Frontier in the local area, may be just overwhelmed. It might be your computer. It might be your internet service provider. It could be the website you're trying to get to just doesn't have the oomph to handle it. Or it could be a bunch of people are trying to access that one website at once, and the website just can't respond quickly enough. Okay, so there's different reasons why the internet might be running slowly, and you have to be able to diagnose it yourself or with someone else. There's a wonderful little program called Speed Test that you can go to if you do a Google search and you type in the word speed test and you click the first thing basically that shows up, and it actually shows you how quick your internet is working. Okay, so you can eliminate your computer if the internet's working very slowly. Okay. How about your computer network is running slowly? Your computer freezes or crashes. That could be a sign of a virus or malware. If you find out you're missing files, right, or files get deleted, it could be you have a virus. If files start showing up you don't recognize, you could have a virus. All right. Programs running, turning off, or reconfiguring themselves. Malware will often reconfigure or turn off antivirus or firewall programs. One of my big signs was when I tried to go to my malware or virus protection software, and I couldn't access it. That's a real good sign that you may have something that's smart enough to know, I'm not going to let you check your virus program, or you not let you run it so you can get rid of things. Okay. Or other strange computer behavior. All right. If you get, now this could be a sign. How many of you have had this situation where somebody calls you and said, Ann, are you in jail? do you need money to get out of jail? I just got an email from you. Some of us have had that happen, where they've gotten an email, not from us, but somebody who's spoofing us and telling them to send money to you or to me so I can get out of jail, right? And they give you an account to send it to, okay? That's not necessarily a virus on your computer, but your email has been compromised in some way. Okay? How can you protect your computer? Right? Antivirus programs can prevent known viruses from getting onto your computer. And I should explain something here. Antivirus program is the white guys, right? The white hats. The black hat guys are developing ways to get through. Okay. The black hats develop a virus and they start it out there. And the white hat guys, if I have Norton, and the guys at Norton find out that it's out there and they develop a correction for it and they update the antivirus program on your computer. They do it almost daily. Well, the time period between the black hats putting out the virus and the white hats developing the inoculation, if you will, for it is amount of time in which your computer could get infected. And oftentimes I hear, well, I have antivirus on my program and it's running all the time and it's checking when I'm doing stuff. Well, if you got a virus in that window between the black hats developing and the white hats creating the inoculation, you could have the virus on your computer and you need to run a complete check on your computer. not just monitoring activity coming and going on your computer. And that's what they call a scan. So you need to, every once in a while, use the virus program to scan your computer. And all of them have it. If you go to Norton, you can say scan now, and then it'll go through everything to make sure that the virus didn't get on your computer. You didn't get sick. Okay. It cannot prevent all viruses. You can get one by clicking the wrong place. Even though you think you're protected, if you click the wrong place, you could get one of those black hat guys on your computer pretty easily. Okay. And here's where I mentioned the antivirus program needs to be running all the time and updated constantly, and you need to scan the computer. Okay. Here's the name of some programs. Ooh, that one's supposed to appear that way. Some of the antivirus programs for the PC are, and I've named a lot of them, right? ScanGuard, PC Protect, Bitfinder, Norton, Malware. I use Windows Security. Yeah. Pretty nice piece of software. I haven't had a problem yet, right? On the Macs, if you have a Mac, you have this list you can choose from. And I actually went online and I found out which one are the most popular, and these, the most successful, I should say. And these are they. Okay. So you should have, if you have nothing else on your PC, Microsoft will put Windows Security on it for you. You need to keep both the antivirus and your operating system up to date, right? The operating system and the antivirus and spyware software, okay, needs to be up to date. Most of our antivirus softwares update themselves daily. The operating system you need to update when they say update them, okay? Some people get an iPhone, they say, I don't want to update it because it might have problems. I say update it and put up with what problems you may get, because usually there are antivirus fixes in the software they want to update. Okay, protect your computer and your data scams. You go to a website, well, I can, if it's too good to be true, it is, right? If you get strange messages or videos or voices that will not stop on your computer. Have you had this happen? You're going along and you've been clicking and you're looking at the internet, and all of a sudden this voice starts saying, call this number quickly, do this. Your computer's been infected. Do it right now. Go here. No. The thing you should do is none of the above. You should turn off your browser. You clicked on a website that started generating this noise, right? Or shut down your computer. If none of those things work, press and hold the power button for 10 seconds and it will automatically drop. So you're trying to keep them from doing anything. And for goodness sakes, don't call the number. Don't click on the website, contact this website now. Don't do those things. We're so, when I mentioned earlier, we're gullible. I mean, I've gotten caught. I got a fish from Bank America. I'll explain this a little later, but I got what's called phishing, PH. I was working on my computer one Saturday, and pretty soon I got an email. It says Bank America would like you to check your account. We've been updating our systems. We want to make sure everything's okay. Okay, please click the following link. I clicked it, and it took me to a site that looked just like Bank America. I said, okay. It says, what's your name? What's your account number? What's your social security number? What's your address? It was a fish. You know, they were getting, pretty soon they were going to ask for my password. Right? So they were just gathering the information, right? So it was a scam all along, and people can make their sites look exactly like Bank of America's site. Okay, we'll talk more about a little bit more about that a little later. Okay. Passwords. Let's talk about passwords. How many passwords do you have? If you have one, how many have two? How many have three? More than three? You're just afraid to raise your hands. Right? Right? We use passwords for a lot of things. Almost every site you go to wants you to set up an account with them to do something, right? To access, just to get on your computer, you need a password, right? Your phones, your computers. To access the internet sites, you need the banks, email. Whenever you're shopping, you need a password. What is two-factor authentication? What's that? Somebody in class said it's a pain. When, just a minute. I'm sure the people on the other end are hearing me crunch, crunch, crunch. Whenever, it used to be when you went to a bank, it would do a couple of things. It would check to see if you, it put a cookie on your machine, and we'll talk about cookies. It put information on your machine saying you logged on to this bank from this computer before. So when you go to it again, they say, he's been here before. So they confirmed not only do you have the password, but you're logging on from the computer you logged on to before. So they got two factors there. And then they may ask for your mother's maiden name or something like that. Things have advanced some, and they say, okay, I'm going to send, you gave me a phone number and an email address when you set up your account. I'm going to send you an email to your mail, or I'm going to send a text to your phone to guarantee you are who you told me you were back when you set up the account. So they send this two-factor thing, and they say, okay, I just sent you a message on your phone. Please enter the 6-digit or 8-digit code that I sent you. And so you pick up your phone, you go to your messages, there it is. There's a 6-digit number there. You enter it in the bank and you're in. That's the second factor or way of authentication. Okay. And it's really a good feature. It is a pain, and some people don't like it, but it is a second way of guaranteeing who you are. Now, the problem is if you don't have your phone, right? So there are some issues with that. Creating passwords, right? Keep them strong. At least 8 characters. They're asking for even more now. At least 1 capital letter. At least 1 number. And at least a special character of some kind. So those are the things you should have in all your passwords, right? And then last but not least, and no matter if you're using the same password for 6 things, write it down. We're seniors, we're getting older. We have a tough time remembering things. It always helps to be able to go to that list and say, okay. And if you're like me and it's on a piece of paper and it's all scratched up because you changed 8 or 10 or 12 of them, it's time to enter the piece of paper so it's nice and neat again. Okay. I put mine in Excel on my computer and I lock it with a password. And it's not the same one I use for the parental thing. But here's an idea. Here's a couple of examples of passwords that are complicated enough. The first one there is Great House. GR8, capital H, O turned to a 0, US, capital E. Great House. The second one there is Forget Me, with the 3 instead of an E, right? Exclamation point and a $sign at the end. Here's one, School Books, with the O's, with zeros substituting the O's, and books spelled backwards. Okay. They can be simple little things, right? But if you twist them a little bit, like the school books there, they can be easy to use. Have a truly unique password for the following, for banking. And I'm recommending at least you have 3 unique passwords, right? One for banks, financing. Have another unique password for all your email transactions, your Twitters and your Facebook. Not necessarily Facebook. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay. And then have another one for everything else. For example, here is Great Socks, right? GR8 # socks is the general password I might use. And when I'm using it for Facebook, I put an F in front of it. And when I'm using it for JC Penney's, I might put a J in front of it. Okay. I'm trying to come up with something that's practical. Now, a lot of people use automatic password generators. Okay. Anybody use RoboForm or something like that? That automatically generates the password. Right. Sometimes it's a little risky to generate. You have to remember the password to RoboForm for one. And 2, sometimes if you don't have access to it and they generated this big long password, it's kind of difficult. But can you print it out? Okay, you can. Excellent. As long as you've printed it out, whatever system you use is fine, as long as it's not one or only one password and it's not 1, 2, 3, 4 pass. It's not your password, okay? And if you need to change what you're doing today and you have a lot of the same password, start by getting your list out and gradually go through them, not all at once. It doesn't take long to generate or change 5 a day. I know I have more than 200. Okay. But you change 5 a day to some kind of system that you want to use, either RoboForm or this kind of system. And in 10 or 15 days, you'll have them all done. And of course, write them down. Okay. Major ways you can get a browser is, first of all, through get a virus, is by the browsers, right? Use one of the major ones. There's one out there called Brave now that's pretty good. I use Firefox, okay? What's the difference between doing a browser and a search engine? Anybody know? Yes.
Browser is what the program that allows
goes on the internet to look for what he has asked for.
Okay, a browser gets you access to the internet. A search engine is actually a website you go to on the internet, like google.com or bing.com, which contains a, let's call it a phone book for the internet, white pages for the internet. And you put in, I want to go to Disney, and it gives you every entry in that phone book that has something to do with Disney. Okay, so that's what a search engine is. Google, Bing, well, I have a bunch of them here. Right? There's Google, Bing, Yahoo, and a lot of people prefer DuckDuckGo because it does not track you. It does not record websites you've gone to for, Google does it for money. Says, hey, Google says, hey, Bill out there, he's been looking at bathing suits. I don't know. I'd be able to come with something better than that. He's been looking at automobiles. And pretty soon you get the idea? DuckDuckGo does not do that, right? Don't allow, what is a cookie? Anybody know what a cookie is? A cookie is a file a website puts on your computer. There are good cookies and there are not so good cookies. I use this example a lot. I ordered a pair of hiking boots on LL Bean. Went to LLbean.com, ordered a pair of hiking suits. Boots came, I really liked them. 2 months later, I went back to LL Bean website on the same computer. And I got, hi, Bill, you want some socks to go with those boots? Size 9 boots. I said, boy, that's clever. They really kept track of me when I logged back in. They knew what I had purchased and they're marketing some other things for it. Well, it would have been fine, but they were using my computer to do it. They had saved a text file on my computer saying what I had purchased the last time I was there. And that bothers me. I said, that shouldn't be allowed. Now, that being the case, it could be like the bank puts a cookie on your computer saying you have been to this bank with this computer before. That's a good cookie. Most cookies are not damaging. I turn them off. If the website I'm going to, and it's a legit site, it says, hey, can you turn on cookies? Go ahead and turn them on and look at the website and do whatever you want, but then turn them off and you can actually clear them when you get done. Okay? Yes. So for example, if I'm using Firefox, there's a setting in there for cookies. If I'm using my iPhone or iPad in Safari settings, you can block cookies or allow them. And there's a setting in there to clear the cookies. If you're surfing the internet, do not go to websites you don't recognize. Know where you are. Right? There's a little bar at the top of all the browsers that gives you the name of the website you're on. If you do a search, I don't recommend you going by page 3 of the search results. If you go by page 3, you're probably getting into trouble, either from pornographic sites or from virus generating sites. Okay. For example, you see that website? Where's that going to take me to if I click on it? Why? Because it says it? You can't read that. It doesn't show up there. It's actually going to take me to Bing. Okay, watch. I'm going to click on it. It didn't take it. Here, I'm showing the people where it took me. in the class where it took me. It's not showing up on the big screen, but it actually took me to the Bing search engine. Because what it says on there is not where it's going. Let me make sure I don't kill the wrong thing here. Here we go. Keep going. Keep going. Yes. If you're on a website and you see a thing that has www. Whatever, put your mouse cursor on it. And at the bottom, it will show you what address it's really taking you to. Okay? Check that out the next time and see if it matches the one up there. Oftentimes it does not. Okay? So what it says is not what it's doing. And I created this one. Okay? Some browser search engines and email programs will warn you about potential fraudulent or problem websites, right? Oh, let's see. Unlock accounts. Oftentimes you'll go to some place and it says set up an account, and it says you want to use your Google ID and stuff to do that. And what they're doing is linking the two so that Google has access to everything you're doing on this website too. And says use Facebook or use Google as your password in. Don't do it. Set up an initial or an individual account for that particular website. That's a little different. That's coming the other way. Zoom is putting it on the Google Calendar. And I do that. It makes it really nice. Unfortunately, a lot of these things are, but then Google knows you have it because it's your calendars on Google. Don't believe sweepstakes in browsers or email. It's always fake. You're not going to get that $10 from Costco. Okay. As you are looking over a web page, and here I'll cover this again, right? We may click on something and suddenly something happens. When this happens, close the browser and start over. Watch your finances. So we've covered a couple of these things before, right? Emails. There's a phishing email, and I think I defined that to you with my Bank America explanation. You get an email, looks like it's from Bank America, Google, Yahoo, but it's not. Okay? No legitimate business will ask you to go to their website and update or check your account. If you're in question, go to the browser and put in the website address yourself. Don't allow it to lead you there. Links take you places you do not expect. Attachments open something on your computer. They are a major source of viruses and spyware. Unless you're very sure of the attachment, do not click on it. How many of you do that? We're all guilty of it. Maybe not. Maybe some of you are really good. Somebody shake. And here I have a link here. Oh, you can't see it. Again, it was the same example. Yeah, this one says, it says Bing, and it'll actually take me to Google. I have them reversed there. Okay. Scam from Verizon, right? Your email pad is set to expire tomorrow. Go here and straighten it out. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to put in your password to change it, aren't you? And then they'll have your password and your email address. Just that easy. You gave it away. Again, if it's too good to be true, it is. Not true. Delete an email you do not know the source of. Just delete it. Don't you just rip up mail that comes into your box? I don't even open half the envelopes I get anymore, right? You can do the same thing by deleting your email. If you try, oh, here's one that's really controversial. And I told Yui I'd talk about it this week. If you're getting a lot of junk mail from somewhere, sometimes there's a place to unsubscribe. And last time I told everybody, I tried unsubscribing and I eventually got rid of everything. I was lucky. Probably not a good idea to unsubscribe, because what happens is the website you're unsubscribing to says, oh, he's a live one. I can send his email address to 5 other people because he reads junk mail and he's going to sell it to them. And now I'm going to get 5 sources of email instead of just 1. So the best thing you can do with junk mail is delete. Or better yet, you can block them. Depending on the email program you're using, you can block. Okay? Yes. The question is, if I'm looking at something that I was interested in, should I unsubscribe to that? I would say if it's JCPenney's or Macy's or Bell's or a major, it's okay to unsubscribe. If it's John Jones, right? And you're buying used tires, no, probably not a good idea to unsubscribe. Okay. My other recommendation to everybody is get 2 email addresses. One that you give to all your family and friends, one that when you go to a particular event or you're asked to give an email address, you give them that other one, so that all the junk mail and everything comes into that one that you wrote down when you had to register for something, and it goes to that one. Now you have to check it once in a while, but at least you won't be getting all junk mail, because whenever you write down that email address, most likely not only is the group you're giving it to using it, but they may be selling it to other people. Did you know you're giving away your identity? And you're doing it every day. I gave it away to Ring and didn't even know I was doing it, right? I told him my traveling for 3 days. Here's the major places that get your identity: Facebook, Instagram, Google, Twitter. They are giving away more. You are giving away more and more of your identity when you use these programs. Just think about it. Google has, I have a list of them here, but they have maps, search, they have a photos program. And your photo has where the picture was taken. So just think about how much information Google has at their disposal. If you used maps and used it to travel to your grandchildren's home or your children's home, they know it. If you took a picture and Google has it, they know where the picture was taken, when it was taken. Amazon, they know what kind of music you like and your purchase habits. Facebook, your friends, your likes, and much more, right? If an application shares your data, it can share your contacts. So Google has your contacts, don't they? Wow, they know every person and every person you know's address and email address. Right? No, I've got a couple back here that are never going to use their computer again. They know where you are, right? That's right. We'll get there. Your music, your demographics, right? Your search history, what products you buy, right? Facebook, Google, Twitter, Instagram are all social media sites that want as much personal data about you as they can get and want to share it with anybody who's willing to pay for it, right? Give them as little information as you can. Use all the settings they give you to request them not to send stuff. Now, it doesn't say they won't, but at least you're requesting it, right? Look at Facebook. Here's the minimum amount of if you have a Facebook account, this is the minimum amount of information they need. They want your age, your real name, your sex, your email address, and your mobile phone number if account is created on a mobile phone, right? And your password, that password for Facebook. Not needed, but also requested by Facebook. A photo of you, your profession, your favorite films, your pet's name, town where you grew up, went to high school, university or college, your business name, places you have lived, websites you visited that you own, I should say, other email addresses you might have, family relationships, mother, father, sister, brother, son, daughter, nicknames you might have, life events you've done, right? The friends you have. This is what they would like to gather, and they do, if they can. I don't know if you can read that. Yeah, you can. That's pretty good. Smartphone data flows to the world's biggest tech companies. Data from more than 88% of the apps that they studied could end up with, and the first one there is Alphabet. That's Google. Okay. So if you have an app you're using, Google may end up with the information you're giving that particular application. Facebook's next there, Twitter's next. Microsoft's on the list, Amazon's on the list, are all gathering information on you. Okay. Dissected Alphabet. They know the games and entertainment you're doing. They know the productivity tools you're using, health and lifestyle information, education, etc., and the list goes on. If you look at the list of applications Google has, there's probably 50 applications that Google has that they can feed the database about you. Didn't say they did yet. Here, this is the list. They own YouTube, by the way. Now, whenever these are all Google products. We're not done yet. And it's called Alphabet. Oh, my battery's running low. I hope it doesn't die. Just a minute. Didn't come up with it yet? I'm not done. I don't think I have Google Voice there. I don't. Okay. These are all the programs that Google and Alphabet own. Now, if we look at Facebook, Instagram, and the other social media, Tinder, Grindr, Uber, social media sites, this is the kind of information they're collecting about you. And it starts out innocuous enough, your name, your email address, your age. And then they want your gender, sexual orientation, marital status, your race, your religious belief, hobbies, height, weight, next of kin. Look at the dots. This is the data they're collecting on us. It is kind of scary, right? How do you protect yourself when you're not using Android? Well, first of all, don't give Facebook the information, and careful what information you're putting in and what you're doing, right? Request websites not to collect information. Doesn't say they will not, but you're requesting them to. What about your non-computer, your phones, your tablets? And what about backup? Right? On your iPhone, right? The settings to take back your privacy on a phone are scroll down and tap privacy in settings on your phones or your iPads. And there's a whole bunch of things there. Select the permission you're going to give to whatever applications to use your calendar data, your location data, your camera, your other services. And you have, Apple, I think, has done the best job of allowing you to control what information goes from what you're putting in your phone to other applications. Okay. So if you just go to their settings in your iPhone and then privacy, then you'll see the different things you can control. You can control who knows where you are, what applications you have that know where you are, what applications you have that have access to your calendar, et cetera, et cetera. On the Android, you go to settings, tap apps and notifications, and followed by advanced app permission. Okay. And it's the same kind of thing where you select who you're not going to give permission to. Okay. What about non-computer, right? And I just mentioned my Ring doorbell, and I've got a Nest thermostat in my house, right? That's this one. And of course we have Alexa or Siri. You know, they often say, is Alexa really listening? Well, she has to be listening for you to say Alexa or Google, if you're using Google, right? She has to be listening. But is she listening to everything else after that? Yeah, well, why are you listening? Yeah, my phone, my watch does that every once in a while too, right? Echo Dot, they are listening. Oh, a good one. I have a CPAP machine. I didn't realize it, but it's hooked to the internet. Honest to God. I didn't realize it. There's a setting there to turn it off. And I didn't realize, and it didn't require me to put any passwords in. I just plugged it in the wall and it went to the internet by itself. To let the doctor know, apparently, supposedly, on how my breathing's going. Okay. There you go. Right. Because you plugged it in. There's a setting in there. You have to go to special controls and turn it off if you don't want it. But, and they don't tell you about it. Depends. That's what you want.
Bill, remember, we can't hear the questions.
Thank you, Huey. The comment was, we have a CPAP machine, and when we have a defibrillator or a device on the chest that also monitors yourself and sends a report to the doctor. Thanks, Huey. And last but not least, backup. Are you backing up? Ooh. Are you backing up your system? Right? And if you don't do anything else from this presentation, understand that if you have a computer, the hard drive will fail. And you want to back it up before it does. And if you have an SSD, it will fail. So nothing is foolproof. So go home and at least back up your data, your pictures, to a flash drive or something like that. Okay? Your backup will fail? Well, if I check with Marshall, Marshall backed his up last Friday. He backs them up every week. Right, Marshall? Is Marshall, you there, Marshall? Turn off your mute, Marshall.
Yes, actually, I back up twice a week, and then once a month, all on different drives. I do a complete drive, system drive, on the first of every month.
Okay.
You know what it says on the bottom of my email? It says, my dentist told me only floss the teeth you wish to keep. And I say only back up the data you wish to keep.
Which is excellent advice. Thank you, Marshall. You can't back up programs for your information. You can take an image like Marshall just reiterated. You can back up your entire system disk. It's called cloning. Just takes a system image and puts it on a backup. Emails don't have to be backed up because they're in the cloud and they're already backed up for you in the cloud. Okay. And you do have to, should back up your Quicken data. I think that's backed up automatically by Quicken, but I'm not sure. So it can be as straightforward as sticking in a flash drive, plugging it in, and moving or copying the files on your computer to the flash drive. Just get a 64 gigabyte flash drive and move all your information to it once in a while. There are a bunch of backup programs. Okay, that you can get. Cronus True Image, Easy US to do backup home. You can use cloud backup on your iPhones and iPads. They automatically back up every night if your settings are correct. Okay, but there are other programs, including Acronis. If you really want privacy, you can use Proton Mail for $50 a year. You can use Parler for Twitter instead of Twitter for more privacy. You can use Brave for your browser for much more privacy. and DuckDuckGo for your search engine or start page. Use Signal for messaging instead of messages. And do not link sites in for link sign-ins for different applications. Okay. Use a Norton VPN. What's a VPN? Anybody know what a VPN is? It's called a virtual private network. Basically is you scamming people who are trying to communicate with you by them thinking that you're in some other location when you're actually here. When you send something, when you're using a VPN, you're actually communicating to a site somewhere in the world, and that site then sends your email. So they think you are at that other location. So you're spoofing everybody, basically. And it's a good way to maintain your privacy. Although anyone can become a victim, the elderly are especially vulnerable to scams. If you believe that you or your parents have been fallen to victims to scams, report it to the local police department. Caregivers, those holding power of attorney, family, and friends can potentially exploit the elderly. Keep track of their bank statements and your financial documents. Review them regularly and report any discrepancies to your bank or credit card company immediately. If money has disappeared from your account, file a report with your local police department. The bottom line, it's safe to assume that if anyone is asking for your bank or personal information, you're being scammed. Unless you initiated the call. You should never give out personal information to anyone on the internet or by phone who contacts you directly. Never. Ask them, tell them you'll call them back and look up their number. Don't take the number they give you. Okay? If you have to make a financial transaction online, make sure you're doing it on a secure server and through a reputable site. If you believe you've been scammed, immediately change your password and delete any malicious software that may have downloaded, and call the credit card company or the bank if necessary. Contact local law enforcement to report. And you can also report to the Federal Trade Commission. So, to sum it up, do not fall prey to phone or internet scams that are after your identity. Be sure you have software and hardware firewalls. Get good antivirus software and keep it updated. Use at least 3 basic passwords. Be careful with email and where you click. Don't open most attachments unless you feel comfortable with it. Watch the links before you click, especially on your computer. As we just said, if you put your mouse pointer over the email, the internet address, you should get an address that shows up at the bottom of the screen on the left. It should match what it says on the screen. Be careful, aware, and wary about where you go on the internet. Always check the top line. It has the internet address you have. If it says JCPenney's and you look up and it says XYZ dot something else, CA, that's probably not where you want it to be. Watch the address bar. Back up the data in case the disk failure or of ransomware. That's the best backup possible. And be sure if you do a backup, pull the external hard drive or flash drive out of your computer. Because if ransomware gets on your machine and that's plugged in, they'll encrypt the backup as well. Okay? Be safe out there, my friends. Any questions? Scams. Yeah, the statement was the police department does have a group of officers that are specifically addressing scams in Sarasota County. Any other comments?
Bill,
Go.
sometimes police departments will tell you, well, we can't do anything about it. There's no sense in reporting it, but report it anyway because it verifies the fact that the event took place and that you can show insurance people or anyone else that needs to know that you've reported it, and therefore you're making yourself liable if it's not true. So it's a way of verifying for future reference.
And when you report it, if they get 5 reports of the same thing, it certainly helps them as well.
Absolutely.
If you're backing, iPads can fail. We get a lot of them in the the question was, what about iPads failing or iPhones failing? They will fail, but they've been backed up. If you have them running correctly, they back themselves up every night. So if you get a new one and you enter your Apple ID and password that you've written down, okay, when you get the new one, it will automatically load your new iPad with all the data you had on your old one.
I looked one day and all of a sudden, here's all of my husband's doctors, baseball buddies, you name it, was on my contact list. And
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm going to go delete the ones.
Ooh.
I did.
Ooh, he's going to shoot you.
I didn't know that they.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds very lame, but.
Yeah, be careful when you're deleting things from your iPhone or your iPad. It's deleting it from the cloud, which deletes it to from other devices that are access to that same account.
You probably have a shared account, a shared contact list.
Yeah.
We knew you were there.
See, you must be. Yeah, they probably have a picture of your wedding there, so they knew you were married. Any other questions? Yui, do you have any?
Yeah, Bill,
the
there's
group?
some on the in the chat box. Let me go through them.
Okay.
Bob G says protecting your privacy and security. If you go to https://bit.ly/ Bob 3160. He'll have some information there. Dick Vogel says, maintain a list of all the applications you've installed on your computer. And Drew King says VPN company is NordVPN, and that's nordvpn.com. He uses them and recommends it. And there are, of course, many other VPN programs out there as well. All the things that I've read say stay away from the free VPNs. They really can be a problem.
You're getting what you paid for.
Yeah, and keep track of licenses for all applications that use them. And I think that's all what we've got on here.
What was the name of the VPN he recommended?
That was one you mentioned, the NordVPN, NORD VPN.
All right. Good.
But I
Judy,
think of
Judy
that.
Tulor has her hand up.
Hey, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Yep.
How would you like to do a short commercial for what's coming next month?
Bill, before you get to that, let me ask
Okay.
a question about links embedded in emails.
Yeah.
As we know with Zoom meetings, the link is about 100 characters long, so nobody's going to type that into a search bar. They're just going to click on the link. Now,
Right.
how have you had any experience with any kind of problem associated with that kind of issue?
It's an
Have not.
encrypted link. It's encrypted by Zoom and it's got a passcode in there.
Thanks, Judy. Very
Okay,
good.
that's good. That's good to know because
I use
Yeah.
I use private internet access VPN. I have used it since 2015 when Jim Evans recommended it. I prefer a VPN that is onshore and not offshore. And if you are very picky about whether you want the government to have access to your stuff by subpoenaing a VPN, you need to select one that does not comply with that. And I
Then
had
it
my
won't be-
hand
Then it will not be in this country, Judy.
I know, but there's one in Panama that's good. And my hand was raised because if you do get where you need to report to your local police department, I have always suggested you create a script of what you're going to say to them, because you're going to be talking to the PD several times and you want to make sure you're saying the same thing. And then you should also get in touch with the FTC or the FBI, whichever one is appropriate. You have your script, you're saying exactly the same thing, you don't leave anything out. And you really should up your game and do the VTC or the FBI, because they track all of this stuff. And every once in a while, they find people and prosecute them, and folks get their money back.
Bill, can I ask a question too?
Sure.
Okay, I noticed that many reputable websites want you to click on their legal terms and conditions, which is a mile long. And if you read it, it's saying that they're going to sell your information and they can use it for advertising and so on. And they're reputable companies that you want to participate in. But if you don't accept the terms and conditions, they knock you off. And then you've got to start from square one. And I've even noticed where banks, when I have to click it because I'm a member of the bank and they're updating your conditions, they're saying they're on there too. They're going to use your private information to give to other people. You really don't have a choice this day and age.
Correct. That's correct. By the way, the first people that didn't read the terms and condition were Adam and Eve.
They're a mile long.
If you lived in California, which I'm assuming none of you would be caught dead doing, we have the best internet protection in the United States. Every time I go to a website, I get a privacy button of my very own, and it lets me decide exactly what information I am prepared to share. And you can turn every single thing off and you still have full access to the website. They can sell my information. There's 4 things. We voted on it as residents a couple, 3 years ago, and then we voted on again when we added more restrictions to it. And let me tell you, it is way cool.
That is.
And if that does not pop up as is required, I get in touch with them and say, hey, you need to include this on your website, and that, you know, and it works really well. And I think Mr. Poplock has that added to his website. Do you, Huey?
There's just a thing that automatically comes up and says, do you accept the cookies?
Okay.
That does it automatically from the host company that I build it on, and most websites now require it because of the rules in many countries.
Right, but California requires that extra step on the website.
Yeah.
And you always have a choice of what cookies to accept.
Yep.
You just have to click on the right part.
Yeah.
Don't accept all cookies. Select only the ones for that website, not third party.
Mhm.
And Bill, I have another comment. I want your opinion. When you go to Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever you go, they want your phone number. They say, oh, this will act as your receipt. You know, so if you have to return something, you just plug in your phone number. Then I start getting millions of phone calls of advertising. So without even accepting their terms and conditions, which are not there to accept, they're still telemarketing your phone number.
Absolutely. Same thing, those little reward cards that you have to swipe when you go, and you get a special price if it's on sale, if you have their rewards card. That's the way they keep track of everything you buy. You go to a Winn-Dixie and put your phone number in to access your account. You can go back and look. Sometimes you can go back and look to see what you bought. They keep track of it. I order on Walmart for pickup, and I go and pick it up. I can go back and I can see exactly what I bought the last time and 2 or 3 times before that. They keep track of all of that information, and they do whatever they want to do with it. If they can make money at it, they will.
I shop at Ralph's, and every month I get coupons up to $2 off the majority of the things that I usually buy, which is way cool. I don't mind that at all.
You know what I find strange? When I go on YouTube, a lot of times I like to watch old time candid cameras. And it's like, I'm always getting these pop-up now about candid camera. They're reruns. And all I did was click on it maybe 2 times to see a candid camera. But now, I don't know how this computer keeps track of me.
Computer, the website. Because the cookies let you.
We gotta wind it up here, guys. Hey, Bob.
Yes.
You're going to be speaking to us next month with your new presentation on security?
Yeah, I had put the link into the chat right at the beginning with a link to exactly what that
Go ahead.
presentation is all about. You'll find it in the chat.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Wait, let me copy it.
Oh, just a minute.
Okay.
We have a door prize. Somebody pick a number between 1 and 10. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ed Landis. Is Ed here? Hey, Ed, are you here?
Does he win a pie?
No. Pick another number between 1 and 10. 8. Lee Ibsen. Is Lee here with us? Okay. I'm going to pick a number. 3. Kate Holmes.
Well, it's too late now. I went on to somebody else.
Okay.
Well,
Oh, Lee's there. I'm sorry, Kate. No. Hey, Lee.
yes.
You just won a year's membership to the club.
All right.
All right.
If you go into the chat box and click on the 3 dots to the right,
Yeah.
everyone, you can save the chat and you will have direct access to Bob's link.
Okay.
It comes out as a .txt file.
Okay. Thank you, Judith.
Mhm.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good month.